All right, so we should have a few people online. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Let me know if you're online and you aren't seeing something. I'm going to try to pay attention. And I'm going to have the chat box open. So if I'm not looking at the screen and you guys see a chat, let me know if there's a question. Okay. I'll try to make this small. Okay, that's as small as it goes. All right. Just let me know if anything is happening in that corner. Okay, thank you all. We have about 30 people, I think, here tonight, and then we should have about 3 or 4 on the internet. And this is recorded. Yeah, everything should go well if it's recording. And so we'll share it out again too. So if I'm talking too fast, you can slow it down and pause wherever you need it. So can everyone see okay? Okay. So let's start. I love that this is one of my favorite refresher classes because you all get to meet each other. So I'm hoping, I have it till 8:30, but really I'm planning till 8. And then you can all talk to each other if you want. You're from different classes. And let's do an experiment. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a little sign in the back.
Okay,
yeah. Who was in the first year? That would be 2014. Okay, look around if you want to meet like the graduating, like the first class.
First and second class?
I said first year, so I think you're one of those. Second year was 2015. Okay, 2016. All right, holding up 2016. All right, 2017. Okay, 2018. All in the back. Okay, I get it. 2019. Okay, good. Love that mix. It makes me so happy. There's 2 chairs up here too and here. I won't spit on you. Okay, let's begin. All right, so you might have seen some news in the last 6 months that is terrifying about recycling. I see it all the time. People share it with me, of course, because it's my job, but have you seen it out in the world? Have you had friends and family asking you, because they know you're a master recycler, like, what's going on with recycling? People, I know it's a big deal when people outside our world are talking about it, like we're in the recycling world. It gets, it's bad when national news is picking it up and your friends that couldn't care less usually are talking about it. These are just some of the headlines. Got the latest Sierra Club magazine is recycling needs fixed. This was actually a surprising one. This was the spring issue, the Parks and Recreation magazine. So this is a magazine that goes to, hi, there's 2 seats up here, ladies. There's a magazine just for Parks and Rec that goes to every Parks and Rec department in the nation, city and county level. And guess what the headline was in April in their conservation issue? A pile of recycling, or lack of recycling, and the words like recycling is ruined or recycling is done. That went to every single city. Then we have our, NPR did a special, Wall Street Journal, The Guardian did a whole series on plastic. I've been sharing these with you in your monthly e-news, but they're everywhere. These are just a little handful of them. I want you to know that we see them. Dakota County knows about it for sure. We are working with our state colleagues, national colleagues, and with our local private sector and other cities and counties as well. So we're trying to figure it out too. And I want to put your minds at ease as we talk about it. So terrifying chaos happening in the news, but there is hope. All right, it all started, a little background for you in case you weren't at the refresher last year or you just need a little update. So in 2015 was actually the first Chinese pushback on our imports of recycling. They just wanted to clean up a little bit, and so we kind of knew something was going on. And then in 2017 is really where they were going to start cracking down on imports. And then in 2018 was the final, like mid 2018 was their implementation of what they called the National Sword. Very uplifting name for a program. What China was getting was our mixed recycling. So not everything, and not everything that you're putting in your cart. They were getting mixed paper, so not the cardboard or newspaper that are worth a little more. They were getting just everything else. Think about all your mixed paper. Post-its and envelopes and office paper, all of that is mixed and usually sent to China. Same with mixed plastics. So 3 through 7 plastics really were going to China. All the worthless stuff. And we were kind of ignoring it for decades because they kept taking it. And it wasn't right. We were literally sending our garbage to China, and maybe they'd make a little bit of money off of it. But there was no environmental laws that were protecting workers going through all of this stuff in China. So it was a bad situation for decades. So it's actually a good thing that some crackdown is happening. China has their own middle class, growing middle class. So they have their own recyclables that they want to collect and process. They have they have environmental issues and environmental standards that they want to get. They want to do better environmentally. Actually, Xi Jinping said the word environment more times than he said the word economy in his last, their version of State of the Union. They want to improve. This is a good thing because there's some really bad things happening in China for processing and working standards. So that's good. What happened though is it all seemed to happen really fast, even though they've given us years of notice. So they said, sure, we'll take your mixed paper. Well, first they said none at all. We're going to stop shipments July 1st, 2018. Then a few months later, they said, okay, we'll ease off a little bit. We'll accept your mixed paper or mixed plastic at 0.05% contamination. Impossible. That's like a drop of liquid or a Post-it note. That's so small. So pretty much they're not going to take anything. What was happening is we were still isolated in the Midwest. Minnesota and the Midwest were really good about our kind of inland markets. It still costs us a lot to ship things to China because we're in the middle of the country. So instead, we tried to use domestic markets whenever possible. Some of the larger players, Waste Management, Republic, still combined a lot of stuff and shipped them over because they had just more ability. But all of those coastal cities and the ones that are leading in recycling and waste reduction, California, Washington, the East Coast, they all were relying heavily on China for everything. So when this stopped, they were the first affected. And they did have to send things to the landfill. That's where all these news stories started. Our worst fear, all this work and education, and it's going to the landfill. We're going to talk about that. That was happening. And it's still a crisis on the coast because they were so reliant. Now, we're not isolated anymore in the Midwest. What's happening is those coastal cities, they still want to recycle. They can't just stop all their programs. They've been in place for decades. They're looking at domestic markets, which is what they should have been doing. Now, domestic markets have been closing doors year after year because everything was going to China. It was easier to ship than keep your paper mill going in Colorado or your glass plant going on the East Coast. Everything was just being shipped to China. It was easier. So those markets kind of disappeared, and that's why we're in this situation where we're stuck with a lot of material, but not a lot of resources in our own country. So things happening. A lot of markets are still trying to ship to Asia, not China. So Thailand, South Korea, Vietnam, and they are not set up to handle the millions of tons of stuff. So they're now saying no. So that was kind of the first year, and they're now at the point where they're overloaded. So they're saying no. So still looking internally. What happened to our market? We were relying on Minnesota. We're relying on domestic markets. Well, all that stuff that was being shipped out started using domestic markets that were there, the few that were there still. And so, just like supply and demand, if you have too much supply, then prices drop. It's an oversupply in our markets, just like any other commodity. It's all linked into our cyclical economy. So it'll come up, but there's a huge price drop. This has some good things going on too that we'll talk about. All right, so bottles, cans, and paper are getting recycled. And we'll reiterate that back to basics message. Bottles, cans, and paper. They're the most valuable. They're getting recycled. We have good markets in Minnesota and in the region that you can, the prices are like nothing, but they're still getting recycled. For instance, for a ton of cardboard 2 years ago, you used to, if I was like Republic and I sold a ton of cardboard to West Rock Paper Mill, I would get $90 for it. Last year, end of last year, early this year, I was paying West Rock $10 to take it. Now, if I'm a paper mill, that's awesome. They're getting paper and paying me. So that's the upside of this, is that actually the end markets are getting, for the first time in a long time, they're getting a lot of money, some money, and they're getting to be innovative and put resources to R&D, research and development. So someone's benefiting at least. The bottles, cans, paper are getting recycled. If you remember from class, materials that are collected as recycling, like recycling back here, recycling at your home, recycling separated at work, has to be sent to a recycling facility, unless there's a catch though, unless there is pollution control agency approval. That no one has asked for approval from the PCA as of today. So that means I'll pick on someone else. I am waste management, and I'm maybe stockpiling bottles until the price goes up, but maybe the price isn't going up and I just have to get rid of these. I can't legally take them to the landfill because they were separated as bottles for recycling unless I submit a written request to the state asking to landfill them. And Dakota County has a special role in this, because guess where all the landfills are that they would go? Dakota County. So we've actually been meeting with a few of the haulers, the bigger ones, because they need to ask Dakota County's permission as well. Because we could say no, you have to figure it out. Because there's nothing in the law that says you have to make money on your recycling. There's nothing that says, the only thing that's a catch is like I forgot what it is. I don't want to say if there's nowhere to take it. There's nothing that says, oh, you're not making money, so okay, you can landfill it. That's not what it says. So that's the situation. No haulers have asked permission to take any recyclables to the landfill. Therefore, in Minnesota, no recycling is going to the landfill. You can rest easy.
First one, or
any recycling. I say papers, cans, or bottles, cans, and paper because they're the things that we know are getting recycled the best. The other stuff is still going to sub-markets. Glass is going to another market. What else would there be? Other plastics, number 5, plastics, we'll talk about that. We can't guarantee the things that don't have a market. So we know all of these things have a market, and the recycling facilities are still staying under, there's a seat up here, the recycling markets, the recycling facilities are still staying under that 15%. If you remember, they have to recycle 85% of what they take in, or they're fined, they get taxed as trash. So everything that Waste Management or Republic takes into the recycling center, they have to recycle 85% of it. They can discard 15%. That's the contamination, the stuff that we put in that shouldn't have been in there. Once you cross that 15% threshold, everything in their facility is taxed as trash. So remember that's 9 to 17% depending on commercial or residential. So that's the incentive to keep it under 15%. We're getting eerily close to that 15% though. That's not recyclable. And we'll talk about what we can do. So situation here too, low market prices, we talked about that, and higher processing costs. So if you've been following any of the social media that's been for Dakota County lately, the last month we've been highlighting things that you shouldn't put in, like the top 5 or 6 things that you shouldn't put in your recycling. But we've also been showing you pictures of what's been happening. You've seen the picture of plastic bags wound around equipment, or fires, if you've seen on the news where the fires are happening from lithium-ion batteries. Though that means higher costs. That means all the machines have to stop for 2 hours so that they can take things out that aren't supposed to be there. That's more, that's reaching that 15% more. So you're paying for disposal of trash. That's maybe slowing down the line. So we know, if you've been to the recycling facility, how quick that line is, that conveyor belt, and you're amazed at like how they're even like grabbing anything. One fact that we know is if they slow down that conveyor belt, the workers can grab more stuff. But if you slow that down, you can't get through as much. So that's what they're dealing with. Hauler and MRFs are starting to charge fees. Has anyone noticed on your bill an additional fee? If you do, please email me when it will happen. So last year, Republic sent, anyone have Republic? Oh, that's a surprise. They're one of the big ones. You do, Sherry? Did you get a letter last year? Okay. They sent out a letter to all their customers in Dakota County. Actually, I think it was everywhere, but I just heard about it in Dakota County, saying due to recycling higher costs, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know what they're talking about. Contamination, they didn't actually say that. Yeah, just we're gonna charge you $7 more a month.
Wow.
Yeah. We're seeing it in the commercial sector more, where like Dakota County has been charged the last 3 to 4 months thousands of dollars because we have been bagging our recycling, which I hate, but it's through our custodial service. So we bag our recycling and put it in the recycling dumpster. Now we have Republic. Republic's been fine with it for years because it's been okay. It's fine. They'll get money off our recycling. They know it's from us. They're clear bags. They can rip them open. And we knew it was going to happen, that something was going to change, and here it is. The thing that we're having problems with, is the MRFs and haulers aren't educating first. They're just slapping fines on people, fees. So beware of that.
Find out when you ask them why you did it. Huh?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep, exactly. We're seeing it more on the commercial side, but you'll see it for any contamination on the residential side. Waste Management and Republic are definitely the ones out there pushing it more. Now, I've seen a letter like from Aspen. Aspen takes all their recycling to Eureka's facility. So Eureka has enacted a fee for contamination. So then Aspen, which they did a really good job actually, saying they sent a letter to all of their customers saying, here's what Eureka sent us. If we find contamination, we will have to charge you, which is exactly what they should do. They should say, our MRF is finding us if we're contaminating. We are going to pass it on to you if you were the person. Yeah, so that you might see that in the future.
What do they know?
They're going to have to do more of getting out of their trucks and tagging, which they say they are doing, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yep.
Not on our street anyway.
Yeah. For Dakota County, they say we have pictures and times and dates of when we picked up, and we asked to see them and haven't heard back. So we'll see. And that's fine. If they can document it, great. Educate, tag carts, it's fine. So then, what else are we doing? We're pushing for education, local, regional, and state level, working really hard with haulers, private haulers. Remember, all MRFs are private, all landfills are private, so we have to collaborate to get anything done. Yeah, we are for Dakota County. We're in the process of updating our ordinance, our trash ordinance, trash recycling ordinance, Ordinance 110, and we would like to have more a heavy hand, I should say, or more of a carrot and stick approach to recycling. So when that is out for public comment, please review some of the changes and make a public comment. So there's things in there that are like, Julie, you might have to grab a chair. There's some chairs up here. Okay, you got it. There's like all haulers must take these 5 items. So then I, as an educator, can tell you, all residents can recycle these 5 items. They have to report to us more. Some things are voluntarily reported. All businesses, multifamily, have to have recycling, offer recycling, what did we say? We go back and forth. It has to be, like every trash can has to be paired with a recycling container. So same, equal access, that's what I'm trying to think of. So some really heavy hitting things that, and if we get them in our ordinance, because right now some of those are already a state mandate, like businesses have to recycle over a certain amount, but we can't enforce a state law. We can only enforce a county ordinance. So think about that. Okay, moving on. We talked about impacts, downside, shortage of materials. China will come up with a shortage of materials. They don't have enough to replace what we've had, so they're going to be desperate too. And their paper mills over there are the opposite of ours. They're paying a lot of money to get paper because now they don't have that basically free source of paper from America. So there's some opposite economics happening in China that we're going to feel after a while. The market is unstable right now. West Coast is scrambling. We talked about that. Flooding domestic markets, and prices for services may go up. Now for the good stuff. The upside. This is a great opportunity to actually recycle right. We've been recycling wrong for a number of years, and now we get to say it's national news, it's international news. It has everyone's attention. We need to change our habits, do it right. We talked about all those, and the research and development opportunity. We just heard from, I think it was Bitmar, at our workshop where they make kind of the decking, kind of like Trex. They make the maintenance-free decking or other durable plastic things. And they are loving this because for the first time, they're actually putting money into their R&D department. Not the first time, but way more than they usually do, so that they can see if they can make other products out of plastic. And once that happens, then they'll want to buy that plastic, which will raise prices and increase our recycling. So it's a good thing for end markets. And what can you do besides cry in the corner? I get it, I've been there. Continue to recycle, but we have to do it right. And we have to be outspoken about it. It used to be that I kind of like, oh, I'm at a party, oh, they're not really doing it right. I'll just pick through it later. Conversation starters. We have to talk to people. Just realize this is a little funny. Keep recycling clean, dry, and loose. Clean, like no more food or liquids. And I know this is really hard at events especially, because there's nowhere to dump liquids. That's one of our biggest things. But events are small compared to every one of our homes where we do have a sink. Empty all your liquids and foods out. If you know someone or you just don't have the time or it's just really gross, throw it away. I'd much rather go in the trash right now. Clean. Yes, Lisa.
Can you say a little bit more about that? I have a person thinking about schools. So
Yep.
He eats all some yogurt, but he didn't rinse it out. He can't, is that trash?
Yeah, so Allie's our school coordinator. We've had these discussions and we've kind of like let it go. Like the little juice cartons, containers that still have the foil on it and are half full of juice. I would say no. Like if I was talking to a resident, I would say no. Now schools need to work specifically with their hauler of what they're going to allow. And if you haven't been asked to do that, maybe they're okay with it. But I would bring it up because I would tell you if a yogurt container is half-eaten or not rinsed out, I'd throw it in the trash. And it's so hard. Like, how are you going to do that with 100 kids in line? Mm-hmm.
You're saying it's dry. Do you just mean the liquid emptied out? You don't mean like if you've rinsed a jar and it's wet?
A little moisture is okay, like a drop or two, but
essentially they want it actually dry.
they do.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
So what
Who
happens
wouldn't
if it's
drive
wet?
after the-
Like, do they say, you know, this is wrecking our product?
Yep. So, and I should be repeating the question. Sorry, people online. Is it wrecking the products? Yes. So what's happening is the food is getting into the other, like on the paper and in the glass, and it's making things less valuable. And when value is already at rock bottom, we got to clean it up. That way, product is worth more. That's what we can do.
Isn't it the water on cardboard or water on paper, they use that product?
You know-
You rinse it out and throw it in the
Mhm. Yeah. I've heard, it's funny, I've always said that. And speaking to MRC Recycling recently, the question was, for those online, doesn't the wetness from a container ruin the cardboard or the paper? And we've always thought that and said that, but talking to Eureka recently, they're like, no, paper gets wet. Like it's gonna go in a big pulp and get wet. It's actually more of having it all together. Mildew can start. The food especially can be bad. So they say dry because now they want everything like clean and dry. They just, no exceptions now. But the paper isn't for wetness isn't as big of a deal.
When you say loose, is it like you don't want them stacked up or what are you?
So Lou, what are you thinking of for stack?
Well, just when you say loose, what do you mean? Just so
What I'm saying and what do I mean when I say loose? Loose means going in your cart loose. Like no more plastic bags. Paper bags are okay, but even that, everything's just loose in your cart.
Seems to me that you used to have to tie cardboard up. Now you tie cardboard.
I would not tie. The question is, do we used to have to tie cardboard up, and now do we not? Every hauler's a little different about what they would accept for cardboard when it's outside your cart. But if it's in your cart, don't tie it up. What they did, they wanted you to tie it up outside your cart just for the ease of throwing it in their truck. It wasn't because it processes better that way. Yeah. If you can leave it untied, great. Yeah, I remember tying newspapers up for drop off and transportation. Yes.
I got a question, all these garbage trucks with these garbage, why can't they cover it up? Big Trevor sees that all the time.
Yeah, Larry's question was, why don't garbage trucks cover up? And it's actually, they are legally required to.
And
So-
I drive my ship, they
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yep, well, you can call it in to the county.
Okay.
And what the brand is, the license plate, time and location, and we can issue a ticket. Did I see another question?
Covering the back of the truck or what?
There can't be anything loose. And I think you mean a big dumpster or
Yeah,
a roll-off
big dumpster,
container.
What they don't cover it up, and me and Trevor sees the stuff going out of it.
Okay.
The big, huge ones on the tractor trailers.
Yeah.
Okay, no more plastic bags. Oh my gosh. The good news is for the first time this week, the message seems to be getting out. My colleague was at the Rosemont Leprechaun Days doing a booth there. For the first time, people were like, oh yeah, no plastic bags. I haven't been doing that now. Like, it's finally catching on. No bags.
But if Target stopped doing plastic bags, you're saying no plastic bags
In your
trash,
carts.
But if Target stopped using plastic bags, anyway, never mind.
Target would stop using plastic
That
bags
would
if
be-
you did not get plastic bags. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and education. That's the bottom line. I really, my personal opinion is I wish we could make the haulers do more education. Through our ordinance, our draft language in our ordinance currently that is not approved to even be out for public comment, we have a minimal of one educational piece written by us, the county, that has to be mailed to every customer. We have, if there's any changes, a hauler has to let you know within a certain amount of time. We actually have, right now it's just a please and thank you for educating your customers. With an ordinance change, we could actually say, here's exactly what you have to say. It has to go out once a year, and you have to use our material. One thing we're also looking at is buying all the haulers labels for their carts. Now,
My hauler has that.
yeah, they have them, but if they don't update them, they are wrong. So I was actually against this because labels expire, and it's a lot of money to label every cart in Dakota County. But then we started doing more education, and especially online, and people are writing in comments saying, the cart or my label on my cart says this, like verbatim. So all the labels that we've had in the past, we have to cover up. So, and the hope for this label it would be so back to basics, like nothing would change about this, like cardboard bottles, metal cans, like we wouldn't go into all the minutia. Because think of like Republic until a year and a half ago still accepted bags of bags. And it says it right on their cart. Bags of bags.
Plastic bags.
Plastic bags. Like a plastic bag of plastic bags. Yep. So that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa.
You know, it's interesting, I just called Big Sanitation today because we have, we cover, we have breakfast program that every kid in school takes a plastic bag to get their breakfast, and that's 800 kids every day,
Right.
5 days a week, all year long. And so we had a team collect all these bags, and then she was the one who would bring it to Cub, and it was so much, she just like, so I called Dick and I said, if you had a bag up, but you're a hauler, couldn't, you know, we pay you to do this extra pickup, and so we're in a conversation right now, we think, no, we don't do that. So why wouldn't haulers, if there's a market for it, add that to separate from everything else?
So why wouldn't haulers add collection of bags at businesses or other places if there's a market? They had been, and it was chaos. So how do you educate that a bag of bags is okay, but not a bag of recycling? And then the processing at the MRF has gotten so complicated that those bags would be dirty and not as clean to, because plastic bags have to be spotless, like way more than anything else. So the infrastructure is just not there for haulers. They'd have to have like a special day pickup of like, on Mondays, we're gonna pick up your bags. On Thursdays, we're gonna pick up your recycling. Because if you put those two together at all, it's chaos for education. Now for a commercial establishment, there's ways, because you have it in bulk, and you can maybe wait a month of that bulk pickup, and then they can pick it up from you.
That's what I'm hoping we could figure out, because I have 2 schools now that have this, right? So that we will have, and we could warehouse them all in one spot, they could pick them up.
Yep, and a hauler will pick up anything for a price. So it's more of, are you willing to pay for your bags? That's what we found out for the recycling zone when we stopped doing plastic bags at the recycling zone, when ProAct stopped taking them. Our recycling zone coordinator went out and priced it out. Like, because you can literally, like haulers will do anything, like haul anything, anywhere for a price. And it was gonna cost us, I think, $18,000 a year. And it wasn't worth it. We couldn't sell it to our board.
Are they still recycling plastic bags?
Nope. And that is why. So it could be, but maybe we were too far away from their place. Maybe you have a better situation.
So where do the plastic bags go?
Right now, they're going to several, like Trex is one of the major ones in our area. The plastic bags that you bring to the grocery store kind of disappear, and they don't really, they're not required to tell us where they're going. Yeah. They're being recycled because there's some money in it. They're baling it with their cardboard and they're backhauling it to a place to bulk it. And they're making money off their cardboard and their bags. Target has a partnership with Trex, so I'm pretty sure they're all going to Trex. I don't know about Walmart though, and I'm not really sure about Cub. I know I have faith that they're getting recycled. I just don't know the exact end market. Okay, if you're online too, please ask questions and we can see that in our chat box. County push, here are some things we're gonna do, that we're doing and to get out the word. So we have a Back to Basics campaign. It started earlier this year, but it's really gonna hit the ground for September 1st. We've actually hired a marketing firm. This is a big deal because they've never let us, in the history of Dakota County, let us hire a outside marketing firm. So I'm very excited. So they're actually, we just picked the design last week, and it will be kind of a very cool pop art campaign to draw attention to recycling and then get you back to, hopefully, if it is approved, a landing page that says, that's dakotarecycles.com. and then everything like right there that you need to know. And then for more information, you go back to our website. So that's happening. That's launching September 1st. So you'll see a lot of that, and you'll know about it as soon as we have some designs. That's the Back to Basics. In between there, we've been doing articles and newsletters, working with our cities. If you've seen some of the graphics online, we've been trying to do more visual graphics on our social media. So please share those, that's great. We've been doing more MRF tours, so not just Tour to Trash or an MRC, but we've been working with Republic, and we're actually having 2 just separate open house tours. Because what we found is Tour to Trash fills up a month and a half before. Like it's very popular. And then I get calls with like 1 or 2 people that want to go to a MRF tour. So they're not a group and they don't want to waste anyone's time. So we're getting all of those 1 or 2 people together for what we call an open house. And you go there, you register just so we know that you're coming, and then you get a tour in the evening. Because the Tour to Trash is during the day too. So this is an evening tour. And Republic's working very hard with us on that and hosting those. Facebook Live events, we've had 3. I'm getting better. If you've ever done Facebook Live or seen one, it's literally like the news. It's live. I could like mess up or trip on something and you would see it. It's very exciting.
Is that what you really said?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking every time I do it, like don't mess up. So what happens is there's a phone that's pointed at me and I answer recycling questions for 20 minutes for a lunch, during a lunch period. The last one was right here where I'm standing, and I just answered questions. People would type in during the event, so you could type in anything. We had questions that came in beforehand, so I'd get the ball rolling there. We usually cover maybe a little topic for the first 5 minutes. The last one, which in July, so we did Plastics Free July and plastic bag recycling info, and then I took questions. So we'll have another one coming up in September, and then another one in November. So look out for that. You can harass me.
Where did you advertise that?
So since it's Facebook, we only advertise and promote it if you're on Facebook. You don't necessarily have to like our page. We pay to push it to people that have certain interests or demographic, geographic, if they're in Dakota County. Yeah. And then we ask all of our cities to share it too. So then all of their social media has that. Yes, Larry.
One of the things is I get out in drains. Get out in drains, I use bags. I use bags. You want anyone you need to go, we can all.
Yeah, that's great. And then you threw
Yeah.
it away because they're dirty? Great.
They were dirty.
Great. I'd rather that. Thank you.
Yep, they were dirty.
And then we're working, we used to have monthly, now they're more quarterly calls with the waste haulers. So I'm on the phone with their communications person, which a lot of times is their front desk person for little guys, or they have a communications person for larger companies. So we're trying to work with them heavily. Also, regionally, there is a recycling education committee that started a year and a half ago, and the haulers and MRFs go to that. So they're involved in our education. They're sharing what they're doing. We're asking them to do some other stuff. There's a better partnership now. Ooh, I have a question. Yes.
What is, you would say MRF all along. I'm sure I know what that is.
Anyone? What's MRF?
Materials recycling facility.
Material recycling facility or material recovery facility, either one. Andrea online asked, are the Facebook Live events advertised? That was Gary's question. Yes, we pay to promote them on Facebook. It's a very unique thing because you like, how else would you promote them? Like, it's complicated to have any other way of advertising these that's not internet related. I've shared them all with you. I've shared them with our cities, but I'm not gonna like put a print advertisement out. Like, that's not how it would work. So if you read my emails, Gary, you know. Okay, we talked about some of these things, but to go over, reiterate, this should look familiar from your class. The must, loose, no bags. I'm even hesitant on paper bags, just get to know the lovely, amazing sound of your bottles and cans hitting the inside of your carts. It's music to my ears. I love it. And with that too, like what I do, I'm in an alley, so I see, everyone's recycling out in St. Paul. If you see bad recycling, if you feel comfortable, talk to your neighbors. Like that's the only way they're gonna know. They don't know they're doing it wrong. They obviously like recycling. They want to recycle. You're a master recycler and their neighbor. So that's the only way we're gonna get the word out is to talk to people.
Walk up and down that alley with your master recycler t-shirt on. Say,
Yeah,
"Ask
right?
me out."
Yeah, exactly. Just hang out there. They won't be suspicious. We talked about all that. Encourage clean, leaving caps on. Caps and lids we want them on. If they're off, if you find loose caps for some reason, the bottle disappeared, throw the caps away. They're just junk. They'll end up in the glass. They will never get recycled. Caps on or trash. Don't crush. I mean, a little crushing, like with the big stuff, like a milk gallon or a gallon of milk is okay because it's huge. And of course, we want you to flatten cardboard. But gone are the days when you had a can crusher and you crush all your cans. Now, if you're going to the recycling zone or a scrap yard and getting money for your cans, it doesn't matter if they're crushed or not. But if they're going to a place that uses machines to sort, which is all of the recycling facilities, then they want whole things. It relies on that 3D aspect. Lasers, lasering into a plastic bottle. If that plastic bottle is crushed, the laser can't work to read that plastic. If metal's a little easier because magnets still work if it's crushed or not. But what happens sometimes is flat, like really flat cans end up with the paper because it's flat like paper. So empty them, leave them whole, and get the word out. Anytime you're in doubt, leave it out, throw it away. I don't care. It's better to recycle right than have the wish cycling happening. Yes, Helen. If you find a broken glass bottle on the road, my biggest fear would be dirty. If it's dirty glass and you're not going to clean it because it's broken, I would throw it away. If it seems pretty clean and it's just broken glass is okay. Or if you broke it at home, did you finish that beer and then you dropped it, then you can put broken glass in. From bottles and jars, not other stuff. Yeah, Marcia.
I have a question about with broken glass, though, is that a hazard to the haulers? Like if you put broken glass, if you use steel strip recycling, you put broken glass loops into the rest of it, is that actually a hazard, or should we put it in a separate box, or how?
Nope, broken glass is not a hazard to the process at all. In fact, the first thing that happens at the recycling facility is they break the glass. That's the first thing. They want the glass out of there as soon as possible. So nope, it's not an issue. Nice. Oh yeah, thanks. Andrea says, do you leave caps on glass bottles and jars? So those are usually metal, right? I would leave it on. What happens if it's a screw top, leave it on. The metal caps will go off with the broken glass to Strategic Materials in St. Paul, which is a secondary recycling facility, and they have a way to capture that metal. Now, if it's a glass bottle, I've seen, it's rare, but a glass bottle with like a plastic screw top, that cap is trash, really. You can just throw it away. Does that make sense? And then if you're a beer drinker and it's a pop-off, and you can't put it back on the glass, I've tried many times, it doesn't work. Put that in a steel can, pinch it shut, and then all that metal will stay together and go off to the scrapyard. And we really say caps on everything because it's much easier to educate caps on everything than caps on these things, but not these things, and sometimes these things. So it's easier to say that. Okay, biggest headaches, no matter what. People talk to me about everything. Like, why don't you educate on to-go cups? Honestly, although I hate to-go cups, paper cups, and they are a pain, and they're not recyclable or compostable, regular Starbucks cups. Hot cups. They're not the biggest thing in a MRF. That's the issue. These are every MRF's biggest issue. Plastic bags, by far, they're huge. They're losing thousands of dollars a week on stopping their facility to cut out plastic bags. And there's a guy who has to climb in this machine and cut out the bags, which is terrifying to me. Same with tanglers, and that's why plastic bags are not accepted. Just like hoses, chains, holiday lights, all that stuff tangles in these machines. That's their biggest headache. Batteries are becoming a huge issue. Now we say all batteries because they shouldn't go in your recycling bin, but it's really the things that are actually dangerous are lithium-ion batteries. So Bill Keegan, who's the manager of the DEMCON recycling facility in Shakopee, he was on the news recently. If you watched that clip from Fox 9 or Care 11, they're seeing every week a fire in one of their facilities. So we need to be better about talking about batteries. So I'm trying to change my language. Instead of saying recycle your batteries, I've been saying drop off your batteries for recycling. Just a simple thing like that. Because all people will hear are recycle your batteries. Oh, in my recycling, right? Same with plastic bags. Drop off your plastic bags. Yep. Like, if you're not a master recycler, how are you supposed to know? They just said recycle your batteries. And any batteries that come in that aren't lithium ion, they're not going to cause fires, but they're garbage now. They're going in the trash. Diapers, I don't understand. It's still an issue. If you're in the first or second class, we never mentioned diapers. Like, that was not a thing. It's only in the last 2 to 3 years that diapers are an issue.
Why would they think
I
that?
have no idea. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's their theory, though. We have no idea if that's true. Because even if a diaper was clean and you're like, oh, well, the box has a recycling symbol, let me throw the dirty diaper away because it's still clean. So that's their theory. That's the only thing that they've come up with. Online, if you didn't hear that, the theory Republic has is the box or the bag the diapers came in has a recycling symbol on it because the box is recyclable, not the dirty diapers. I don't know, people. Yes, Larry.
You know what birds worry about? People are mowing the lawn. They got trash on the lawns when they mow it. You don't clean it up after you get done.
You're right. And now it's little trash.
It's a whole bunch of trash.
Mm-hmm. Food and liquid is the other one. So just everything that's in our bottles and jars that we think doesn't matter because it's a little bit. Well, a lot of that little bit adds up and just gets everywhere at a facility.
Compost.
Yeah, compost your food, of course. Yep. Or if it's dirty and you are somewhere that you can't rinse it out, throw it away. Seriously, not worth it. Okay. Biggest headaches now going into, oops. Okay. This is new out, and I have a link in here. It'll be online. If you're listening, maybe you click on it. I don't know. This is a white paper, so a guiding document that came out that was a year in the process to make. Because if you can get 100 recyclers to agree on something, it takes a year. It's the Recycling Outreach Guide for Minnesota. So this is a voluntary guide for educators to use from MRFs, private, end markets, city, county, state level people across the state to use. And it has, I guess we can go there. It's housed on the Recycling Association of Minnesota's webpage. Okay. And can you still see it online, or do I need to share differently? Can you see the Recycling Outreach Guide? Okay, I'm gonna assume you can see it because it's highlighted in, okay, no. That's okay, we're gonna share this. Wait, we're gonna share that. Okay, you should be able to see it now. This guide, you can go to it and browse at your heart's content. Is, okay, I'm gonna put you down. It is a list that we have agreed on of yes, no's. So I'm just gonna take you through to show you, and then we're gonna go back to my PowerPoint. So all these people helped. The goal is to have consistent messaging. That's right. I put up some fights. I did not win them all. Okay, just going in terminology. Okay, plastics, for instance. I'm going to skip that because there are some differences I'm going to show you, and I don't want to talk about it right now. But here's what it looks like. So categories, yes, accepted, no's, but then of course there's all the exceptions, right? So then there's these caveats of not accepted for recycling at the majority of MRFs, but one or more MRFs do accept them. Like this one's mason jars, which is, I know it's Eureka, but if the problem with this is if I didn't know that, how would you know which MRF is or isn't? But at least it tells you you need to investigate a little more as an educator. And at least it tells you that these other things are completely agreed upon. No exceptions.
I have one question. One of the lists. I thought salt pellet bags were okay. Take the handles off.
For the plastics?
Yeah, not acceptable.
Nope. Remember, ProAct used to be the recycler for plastic bags, and now we're going with the list made by the National Plastic Film Recycling Association, and they have different standards. Yep. So forget everything you knew.
Things always change.
That's why you're here. That's in here. Yep. So it goes through every category, including plastic bags, paper. So we're gonna go through them, just not in this type. It even goes through, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna go to it. It goes through FAQs, frequently asked questions. So you kind of have the terminology to answer things. It includes how clean is clean? Why is my stuff mixed? Those things that we all answer. So now we're gonna go through, so I'm gonna, oh, my screen sharing is paused. Well, I don't know why. New share, okay. All right, and chat box up. Whew. All right, moving on. Now we're going to go through those lists, so don't worry. All right, I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, if you see that move, that means someone asked a question. Okay, first things first, paper. All of the stuff we normally have been doing, office paper, magazines, newspaper, softcover books, all fine. Every MRF takes them. Every MRF also takes these boxes, cereal, cracker boxes, of course without the linings inside, all your toiletry boxes, shoe boxes. Every MRF has stated in this guide that they take paper towel and TP rolls. Yes. So finally affirmative answer on that. Now your hauler might say, no, because they don't want it. It's not worth a lot. But all the MRFs, so those 8 MRFs have said they'll accept them and it will be recycled. Of course, you can compost them as well. They're not very valuable as paper, but they are accepted and they won't contaminate your recycling. These other things in orange are the ones that are in the caveats of the majority of MRF accept them, except blah, blah, blah. So they're orange because you have to find out. And if you're really in doubt and you can't remember, throw it out. It's not worth recycling a refrigerator box because you weren't sure. We're reversing that. No more, throw it in, hopefully it's recyclable.
But the paper egg cartons get you organic?
Yes, definitely. We're just talking about recycling. Paper egg cartons, definitely. So frozen food boxes and refrigerator boxes on that list, they say all MRFs except 1 or 2 accept them. I just don't know which of those 1 or 2 MRFs it is. Clean delivery pizza boxes, same thing. All accept them except 1 or 2. Paper egg cartons is the reverse. None of the MRFs accept them except 1 or 2 because of the value of it. Shredding, we've talked about this. No more shreds. That's a no for all MRFs. No more shredded paper in your cart. Here's what you can do. If you do shred at home, only shred what's necessary. Use permanent retail drop-offs that are all year round. In the Green Guide online, it lists all of those. Office Max, UPS, Staples. They do cost maybe $1 or $2, but if you need to get rid of it right then. Also, if you just have a little bit, take it to your bank. They'll just put it in with their confidential paper. If you need to see it being shredded because it's a thrill for you, then go to an annual shredding event. They shred all of them on site. You can watch it on a little screen even if you want to. You'll hold up the line and get maybe yelled at, but you get to see it. Every city in Dakota County is now given funding and has been required for a number of years to offer shredding events. So every single city has a free shredding event for you. Also, they don't really check ID. So really there's like 14 shredding events at your disposal. No excuses. If you also love the thrill and therapy of shredding at home, I would advise you not to. Those things break down a lot too. If anyone's been to a fix-it clinic, we hate paper shredders. But the recycling zone, what happens at the recycling zone and why we're allowed to take shredded paper in a paper bag is because all of our paper, cardboard, mixed paper, paper shredding, stays separate from all of our containers. So what happens is ours just goes right to the baler and gets smushed into a paper cube and goes to West Rock. And then our containers go to the MRC to be sorted. That's why we can take it at the recycling zone and not in your cart. And then last resort, you can place some shreds in your compost. What we're finding now, this is a surprise for people who haven't taken my class in a while, we're finding that toner, so pretty much all ink that's from like a major copier, has microplastics in it. For some reason, yeah, yep. So I don't want you to put that in your compost if you're not sure, bless you, because it might be microplastics now in your compost. I know, fun.
It's in our bodies.
Okay, I'm just checking questions. Andrea asked, do businesses need to keep shredded paper out of the cart? Yes, and usually businesses have a separate confidential cart set aside for that, like a locked cart. And if you need help on that, Andrea, we can talk about the YMCA. Okay, the nose for paper. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. What about boxes paper with metallic print on them? Thank you, Andrea, for asking that. So I automatically think of your Crest whitening toothpaste, and it has this shiny foil-like cover. That's actual metal. And know that MRFs in West Rock, they don't want that. So if
Like Colgate.
Yeah, Colgate. Yeah, I don't know which ones anymore, but if it's shiny like that, it's not all paper. So I'd be cautious.
And not Christmas cards.
Exactly. Not Christmas cards or wrapping paper with shiny, metally things, like any embellishments. Okay. Nose, shredded paper. We talked about receipts. That's the BPA issue, BPA and thermal receipts. Yes. We can, yeah.
I asked them about that at Westcott last year, and she said, no, it's allowable. We have asked. And I'm like, okay.
Well, especially when you don't need one. Like you can option like no.
Yeah.
I will check into that. Thank you for both saying that, because they're not allowed in our recycling. Yep, still. Yep. Yep. You can tell it's the old type of paper. It's not like glossy. If you leave it in your car for a day, all the ink doesn't disappear. That's thermal paper. The old paper is.
That's like the adding machine paper. Yep. That to me was okay, but then somebody told me no.
I have to see it. And when in doubt, throw it out. A piece of ripped paper, a little paper, not worth it. Any paper plates, cups, napkins, tissues. Yes, it might be compostable. We're just talking about recycling here. And tissue paper, like for gift wrap. Of course you should reuse it, but sometimes after 20 years of reusing it, you might be done with it. You could compost it as well. I would stay away from ones that have glitter and stuff in it because that is plastic. But just regular old tissue paper you could compost. But don't recycle it. Ooh. Cartons. Okay, cartons. Same old thing, nothing's really changed here. What we know is people still don't know what cartons are. So we need to educate. There's no good term for this. Milk boxes, juice boxes, like there's really no associative word. The actual term is aseptic and gable top boxes. Do you think that's better? Nope, don't want to talk about that. So we still need to talk about cartons, but always give examples. Half and half cartons, soup broth cartons, soup and wine cartons.
Question on Pacific, because I have some in my refrigerator right now, and it always has that
The foil.
metal foil.
Yeah,
thing.
trash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just take it out, trash. Also, the caps, I can tell you honestly, we as a region and state have agreed to keep saying caps on. This, though, goes to a paper mill. Those caps will never be recycled as of now. Maybe there's a technology that will improve in the next few years, and that will be captured, just like caps weren't allowed on plastic bottles for a long time. As of right now, we still want caps on everything, but full transparency, those caps will probably not be recycled. But we still want everything on.
How about spouts on wine cartons?
Trash. So spouts on wine cartons, trash.
You have to pull them out.
Yeah, yeah. That whole bag of wine and the spout is all trash. So you might as well just pull it all out, and then the box is perfectly recyclable. Metal, keep it simple, people. Metal cans, food and beverage cans. And this is decorative tins was added to the yes/no list from the state. So decorative tins, so you can have all that Boy Scout popcorn you want. I would, if it's big like that, I would honestly bring it to the recycling zone because we can handle scrap metal, like bigger things. Smaller ones are usually okay, just because you don't want to have it flying out at a recycling facility and hit a worker or something. Aluminum foil and trays are under the maybes, like check the MRF under that list, because it has to do with quality, if it's clean, and the size. So your yogurt foil lid, unless you're gonna keep all of them for a year and then put it in, great. But it has to be clean and it has to be balled up bigger than your fist. And if you're in doubt, the recycling zone takes all of that clean foil, those tin pie can or pie tins. If you're hosting turkey dinner and you don't want to clean and you're just going to use a disposable metal can, clean that a little, but bring it to the recycling zone. These are all very recyclable and we love it. They're all steel, usually scrap metal, aerosol cans, and like propane tanks and stuff. Love that metal. Not in your recycling cart, which is happening a lot. People are throwing like helium tanks, like the little party ones, helium tanks in the recycling. They're throwing, now scrap metal, we used to say you can, but what do you think of when you say scrap metal? Pipes?
Broken spade.
Broken spade handle, yeah. Like metal parts of tools. Lawn chairs, yeah. Anything metal, it's a slippery slope. And that's literally what they're getting. They're getting car engines, metal parts, baseball bats, metal bats. So we're just saying no, nothing besides those beautiful cans.
Go to the recycling zone.
Go to the recycling zone, we love it. Glass is pretty straightforward. It's that single-use type of glass. So if it's meant to be reused over and over again, such as drinking glasses, vases, window panes, don't put that in your recycling. Only those single-use. Now, fine, use your jar over and over again, but it was meant to be single-use.
And the ones that aren't accepted to the recycling zone?
Nope. So all of the non-beverage and food jars and bottles, no one will take them. And what happens?
Why is that glass different?
That glass is different because it melts at a different melting point. So if that glass goes to a facility that's taking all of our bottles and cans, the bottles and cans melt at a lower temp than that window pane or vase. So now there's little bits of window pane in their Heinz bottles that they're creating, and it's all trash now. it's just chemistry. That's all. Science. Okay. Let you take this in. Plastics. What do I hate talking about? Numbers. This is what I fought hard on for the recycling education guide, but I did not win. And I'm accepting it and moving on, and we're going to use it. But maybe this is what we need. Maybe not using numbers is not working. So we're starting to use numbers again. So drill it into your head. 1, 2s, and 5s. 1, 2s, 5s. Wish they were in order. It'd be way easier. Everything else, and we'll talk about the no's, all of those other numbers, there's just no market for. No one wants them. They're different chemistry. They can't make great products out of them, so they don't want them. These are the only ones that we can guarantee there's a market domestically for.
Unless they're one.
Yes.
Or red.
Oh, don't worry. There's exceptions, which is why I hate numbers. Yep. Generally 1, 2s, and 5s, yes. And you've seen this list. We still really want to use that list, because just because it has a 1, 2, or 5 on it does not mean it's recyclable. And we're going to be doing education about that in August. Plastic no's. So here's all the exceptions. 3, 4, 6, 7. And for instance, a 7 is everything. It can be anything that's not a 1 through 6. 6 could be anything from a solo cup, like a red solo cup, to styrofoam. So neither are recyclable in our area. Plastic bags, asterisk, because you can drop them off. We love that. Styrofoam black plastics, which include plant pots, microwavable trays, forks, any of that, black plastic. There's just not a great market for it right now, so they don't want it. I honestly cannot tell you what Lowe's or Home Depot does if they're accepting your black plastic pots. Some of them do. I don't know if they're reusing them. That would be great. I don't know how they're like selling them to any place. They're dirty and they're black, so no one really wants them.
More and more frozen food companies are making them red.
I've never seen the red, just the white.
Real food or there are several. Yes.
Okay.
I throw those too.
So new colors for microwavable trays. Cannot speak to that. We used to say, and actually in there it says no microwavable trays. So besides black or red or clear. And that I've heard different reasons, but the one that makes sense is they melt differently. There's something to make them more thermally stable. So who knows?
I'm glad I came to this.
Yeah, I'm glad too. Tubes. There's more and more things in tubes. And when I say that, it's like sunscreen tubes, where all the products in it, you squeeze it out. Condiment, well, some condiments, but anything that you squeeze. What other, I can only think of sunscreen.
Squeeze mayonnaise, they're big.
Yeah.
Squeeze everything.
It's like flexible toothpaste. Yeah, toothpaste is one. Or lotions. Tomato paste, yeah. Yogurt, really? Oh yeah, we call those more pouches actually. We would lump them into wrappers and pouches. This one is like, it's a screw top lid and you squeeze it out. It's flexible packaging, and we haven't figured that out yet. Utensils and straws, still no, we do not want them. Any of these more durable Tupperware containers, they're made to be durable, so they're made differently than our single-use plastics. Wrappers and pouches, like the Go-Gurt ones or the Capri Sun, or like all those applesauce things that are now are for babies. All of those. Now there are programs that will accept them as mail-back programs, but nothing in your curbside recycling. Pumps from bottles. So here's like the spout. This is a similar thing. Lotion pumps, anything like that. It's made up of various plastics and metals, so we just are throwing it away. Toys, because we get a lot of toys in the recycling bin. It's plastic, so no toys. And with that, no bulky plastics. No laundry baskets. No, a bulky plastic also counts as your kitty litter bucket. Those are number 2. It's bulky, it's hard to process. Yeah. So they very well could be recycled, but not in our current system and how we process. Now, we used to accept kitty litter box tubs for recycling, actually for the reuse area, because people would come in and like use them for different things. But now we got overloaded. So we are stopping that. Just checking questions. Okay.
Ice cream container?
Ice cream containers, no. Bless you. Nope, no ice cream containers.
Oh, really?
Nope.
That's how you store your coffee.
Yeah.
One thing about the number 7,
Mhm.
plastics is that, well, the number 7 plastics, some of them are compostable.
Mhm.
Because you buy the compostable cups and they have the little 7 on the bottom.
Yep, which is why it's horrible. Because it's technically plastic, but it's bio-based. That's polylactic acid, so it's made out of plant starches instead of oil. But it's still not recyclable.
No.
You'd still want to have certified compostable products, and they might be number 7.
But what my thought is if you see a 7, check for other things because it could be compostable.
Could be. For recycling, no way. You're right. If you have access to organics recycling, they definitely want to do that. Okay, so we finished with the yes/nos. You've asked questions as we've gone. Continue to ask questions. That's okay. In our last time, we've almost spent our hour and a half. We're going to go through just new updates that you should know that have changed, even if you've just taken the class. So Green Guide Online, that's been out for a year and a half now. That's a searchable directory where you can type in and it's a predictive text, just like if you're searching on Google. So if you don't really know what you're looking for, you can start typing something in and it'll pop up with what we think you might be searching for. Hundreds of items. And they're in order of, like, if there's a reuse or donation, that's up the top, and then recycling and then trash. So there's options for you in that guide. And you get to suggest items too. So I don't want to go there now, but you can suggest items if something's not coming up. And that goes to me. The funniest one I've ever gotten is my wife. So made me laugh on a Friday. There's also on that, if you've noticed if you've used it lately, there's tabs. So there's like the directory, the default. Next to it is a waste sort game, which I shared on the Facebook group. Good, I'm glad you enjoyed it, testing your recycling knowledge. Then there's recycling events next to that. So those are all of the city events, all the shredding events and composting events. And now we're going into pumpkin season, so all the pumpkin drop-offs, they'll all be there. I input those. Shoes, everything, they'll go there. Recycling at Home booklet, if you haven't gotten one, it hasn't really been updated since it was mailed out a year and a half ago. We'll be updating it for a new mailing in the early winter next year. But if you need one, you can pick it up. This has everything you need to know for recycling in our area. The home recycling cling, I'm sorry, I was running out, so I only grabbed one as an example, but this is a cling material where it's like acts as a big sticker. You peel it off and you can stick it and re-stick it on any surface, so you don't damage anything that's behind it. We've noticed that we used to do magnets, but a lot of people have stainless steel now. Or maybe you just don't want it on your fridge, so you can put it on the inside of your cabinet or on your bin if you want. There's that. I'm sorry, I don't have extra.
Is that product recyclable?
No, it is not. I know, I thought hard about it. Yep, but it's meant to be durable.
That's why she only has one.
Yeah, right? You all have to share it. The wasted food materials, we're just doing more food waste challenges. I won't go into that. The organics recycling brochure, I'm going to save that for a second. Presentations, we have a brand new presentation that we offer. So right now we have decluttering, recycling 101 or recycling mythbusters, lazy guide to composting, and chemicals at home. Now we have low waste living. So it kind of encompasses all the zero waste kind of stuff. So that's all ready to go as a package for you. So getting into, all right, recycling zone improvements. Anyone been to the recycling zone in the last month? Have you noticed a little construction? Yeah, you don't even know if you're in the right area. There's tons of construction. By the end of September, what will happen is a smoother recycling zone for you. So I don't know if you can, sorry if you can't see this when you're online, but so you come in, you usually come in by the tree on this corner down below. You come in and you continue on under the canopy, you get out of your car, you go give them your ID, you get back in your car, and then you're off. Well, we need to move faster. We service more people per square foot than anyone in the state. We have to get you through faster and more convenient and easier for you. So what we're doing is that tree does not, oh no, that's fine. There's another tree that we had to tear down. There is a kiosk now that we're building so that you never have to leave your car. You give them your ID. Then you continue, we're gonna have 3 lanes. The canopy is extending out. We're having 3 lanes. The farthest from the building lane will be like if you just have recyclables and you cardboard, whatever, you're kind of self-serve, you go drop them off. The 2 lanes that go underneath the canopy, you're gonna stop and everything's gonna be unloaded for you. And then you're gonna continue on. So it's just so you're not gonna go inside anymore. If you want the reuse area, it's actually where we do tours. It used to be like where we'd stop for tours. It's that back little education room. That's the reuse area now, which is why we stopped doing tours this year because we have nowhere to go. So right now it's the inside. You have to go park and come in a different door. So it's going to be way more streamlined. New signs, new construction. That'll be done by the end of September. That'll be furthest from the building, like right along here. So you'll have to take it out yourself, but we'll help you.
Are they gonna continue with, last time I was there, it was paper and then everything else was in one bin?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so we're still going to continue to separate all of our paper from containers. They'll be under the canopy outside though, and so you'll lift into each bin. Yep. And that's so that we can get a better price on both. It's just a little easier for us.
So the plastic and glass and everything is still gonna be mixed?
Yep, that's right, yep. Okay. Moving on, so that's very exciting. County Fair, if you have signed up for the County Fair, thank you. I can tell you who signed up in a second. The big thing this year, you'll notice if you read the email, is we're not doing any organics in the public area. We've tried for 4 years now, and we thought if we kept going, the fair would finally mandate that all the vendors would have to have certified compostable products. That's not happening. So we said if they're not gonna do that anymore, we're not going to put our efforts into it. So we're still having recycling everywhere, but we know if you've worked the fair, recycling's pretty good. Very little contamination, it's not too bad. And then Allie, who is usually in charge of the fair, she's going to be working with all the vendors on the backside. So there's still like the corn cob people with their husks, the lemonade people with all their lemons. We're collecting that on the back end, so you might never see it, but know that we're working with them. So what we are doing is, Dick's is the hauler for the fair, so they kind of get a little area that they can bring their trailer in. So this is their trailer they made last year. So they have a trailer, and then next to it is a booth. And it's a walk-through trailer, like get to know recycling and an interactive, I'll go here. Outside the trailer is a table with like examples of things that they've found. And then inside the trailer is a bunch of graphics and actually an iPad that you like scan on the wall, and you can see a virtual MRF, how it operates. So what we're doing is we're partnering with them, and we're kind of taking over this table. So there'll be Dick's and Dakota County, and that's what you'll be doing if you're volunteering. You'll be there answering questions, giving out resources. They'll have all of the materials, and that's why I'm low on things. They have them. You'll be giving out resources and helping them. So no matter what, Dick's will have 1 to 2 people there all week. So it's not all on us. If I don't fill shifts all the way, it's okay. Someone will be there from Dick's. But it's an opportunity for us to get out in the community and educate more. So
we're not watching.
nope. I thought I had it. We're not going to. So if there's slow times, because you never know if there's slow times. What we do ask, there'll be grabbers there, and if you want to walk around to decontaminate the recycling, by all means do. But our main purpose is education. Yes. No capes for kids. We will have pencils, and they always have. I think they have Frisbees last year for some reason. So they'll have some goodies. Also, stop by though if you're just going to the fair too. The whole building, the county fair building this year is all about water, and it looks really cool. I just saw it for the first time this week. Looks really cool. There's like an interactive flow of water display. They're giving out reusable straws. It's pretty cool. So go get one. You have to answer a question. Okay, so here's what I have for the shifts. So you can kind of visualize what's open. So we're doing really well. Robert and Helen are taking over Sunday. Great, Sunday, all you. So thank you for those who have signed up. If you'd like to sign up, there's still time. And if you came in later, I have your tickets, so don't leave without your tickets. Okay. And then some other new programs that have just happened this last year. We have a multifamily recycling program now. If you or someone you know lives in multifamily housing, so condos, townhomes, apartments, any of that's our multifamily. Bev is our leader here. She's pretty much the reason we have the program, just for Bev. We had a pilot where we had 5 or 10 multifamily units in Bev's Lexington Riverside, and Lilydale was on that list. So she helped us really pilot a lot of these things. We have signs and money for renovations and training materials, and now we have tote bags where it says like you use it for your recycling if you have to walk down to the recycling area. Brand new program. We're already at, I think, 15 for the year, but we can do more. So I think we can do up to 20. So if you are in that situation, let us know. Okay. Oh, I thought I had, oh no. Yes.
Questions?
Yes.
One is, why does the state of Minnesota not want to reimburse us? Like when I went to Michigan, we went into
bottle bill.
Walmart, and it was a huge line of people. I mean, there's like 6 spots, and people are bringing in their cans and their bottles from the plastic and
Right. So that's called a bottle bill, and there's a handful of states that do it. The reason is really whoever has the biggest lobbying budget, and usually it's the Grocers Association. How other bottle bills in other states work is you take your bottles to a grocery store. Usually, if you can buy a bottle from somewhere, that's where you would take it to recycle. That's the whole mentality. It works amazing. They have 90+% recycling of bottles in those states. California was actually dealing with an issue. They had over 100%, which means people were bringing bottles in, and they get busted. You get like someone in like Nevada who doesn't have a bottle bill would bring bottles in. Yeah.
for the money.
For the money. There's a whole Seinfeld episode about it. So we don't have one here because every year it gets introduced in legislation, and it's just political will. That's all. Yep. So.
Some of those are really cute machines.
Yeah, right. I know. There's a few issues, like the Grocers Association doesn't want to be responsible for it, but there's other options in other countries. It doesn't have to be the groceries. There's also a mentality that usually it's homeless or lower income that you actually instead of giving them money, you give them like a bag of your bottles, and that acts as money because they're going to go to the grocery store now. So there's this whole other social issue that we don't think about that other states have been dealing with. Very in favor of it, and you can definitely call your legislature. And if you want more information, I can put that in MRC e-news of like, hey, this is introduced. I can't tell you to call your legislator, but you know what to do.
And then my second question is about seems the plastic bags are such an issue. I know Minneapolis said that no more plastic bags. I don't know if that went into effect, but others.
Yes. So.
I mean, if Dakota County wants it.
An ordinance.
Is there a way that the county can push more on to each city, like Median and file?
Yes.
You know?
The thing, the reason why Minneapolis they passed it and then it never went through, or they could never enact it, is because the state legislature put a ban on bans. So you can't, as a city, ban those kinds of things anymore. There are other tactics like a fee. You can enact a fee, and so Minneapolis was looking at that too. Fees have worked in other places, but yes, we can definitely put social pressure, political pressure. There's other ways to do it, but that's why Minneapolis couldn't do it. Yeah.
Like Aldi, 25 cents.
Yeah, Aldi does it, right? One other thing is our organics drop sites. Look at all these spots. They're blossoming. Yay! So Thompson and Lebanon, we've had them for several years. The mulch store just opened a few months ago. That's in Rosemont. That's right next to the dog park. That's where we've all taken tours before. I know it's not as convenient, but it's because they offered it for free as a drop-off. So we said, yeah. And then Lakeville is opening October 1st. They came to us. City of Lakeville, if you live there, be proud. They came to Dakota County and said, we want one of those. What can we do? It's a huge partnership, and they've been really helpful. So that's up. We're going to start recruitment middle of August. So if you live within a 4-mile radius, you'll get a mailed recruitment kit. You'll see a bunch of other stuff going on. That opens October 1st. 2020 on tap. All I know about right now is Hastings. Ooh. They've come to us as well. But I mean, now cities are coming to us. So if you want it in your city,
Burnsville needs to be on there.
yep. And they've the only one that has. So the one that has denied us that was supposed to open this year was Apple Valley. And now there's like spite, so I don't think they'll ever get one. No, I'm just kidding. I would still love to give them one, but we'll have to wait for people to change. Yes, so that was the last thing I wanted to talk about.
Is it organics? Are people good about it?
Yes, very good. The question was, are people being good about organics? And yes, they are for sure. Pretty clean. The only issue we have is sometimes people take too many bags. So we run out of the free bags.
There were no bags at Lebanon.
I know.
Yesterday.
Don't worry, we heard about it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I have a
The
question
other
about,
problem is sometimes they're too full.
Yes.
It was too full there.
Yeah.
yesterday.
So the problem right now with too full is those haulers. The haulers only pick up organics on all the days that we're already picking up. So I don't know what we're gonna do. That's why we're hoping to get more sites online to kind of distribute that. We're hoping maybe a lot of the Lakeville people are using Egan, so we can get them to Lakeville, and it's still gonna just be growing.
Do you have that data? Like the people that have signed up?
Yeah, we have, I think we're over 3,000 now.
So you know where they're.
Yes,
There
yes.
are lots of people who aren't signed up. Who just.
Don't share your information with them.
No, I make them sign up. I say, take me to your computer, I'll sign you up.
you told them that they could put in pizza boxes that had grease on them.
To the
But-
organics?
To the organics, but they said that some of the pizza boxes don't fit into the little,
Oh, the bags.
the bags.
Oh, but you can throw them in loose. Yep.
How about like weeds that you don't want?
We count all weeds and even pumpkins as yard waste. So we want them to go to the yard waste sites. And that's just really for a capacity issue because we're already at capacity. Yep. Yeah, pizza boxes, dry goods, egg cartons, you can throw them all in loose. It's just the food that has to be packed up.
So you're having problems with diapers?
No diapers. We see, yes.
When you talk about the education, the haulers providing it, what did you say, what kind of stickers do they put on the recycling?
It's just a label that they put on their cart.
Yeah,
And a lot of times it's more of their advertisement that it's their cart. But a lot of times they also have yes, no lists.
they should have no plastic bags.
Right, but if you signed up and got that cart 6 years ago,
Oh, okay.
Lisa, can you hit the lights? Okay, we're at 8:30 and they're closing us up. So thank you so much. We'll stick around for a little bit as we clean up. I have brochures. I also have Fix It Clinic flyers of the upcoming ones. Thank you all. Thank you for being online too, everybody.
Our national night out.
Yay.
One of my